Let's return now to that news that David Cameron this morning was appealing to voters who want to clean up politics to apply to stand as Tory candidates at the next general election. Let's speak to Aneeta Prem. Now, Aneeta's a magistrate and former member of the Metropolitan Police Authority. She says she's interested in becoming an MP. I don't know if you heard what David Cameron had to say this morning on the Andrew Marr programme, but I think it's been sort of paraphrased to you. I mean, does it tempt you?
I think it would tempt a lot of people like myself, you know, people that are young, dynamic, really interested in politics, and think actually out of all the bad news that we've heard around the expenses and everything else that's gone on, there actually could be a silver lining out there where you could get a whole new generation of people coming through.
But he would ask you to come into the Tory fold, as it were, and if elected, you would have to be whipped, you'd have to take the party line. Does that make a difference? Because you wouldn't be truly, obviously, independent, you'd be a Tory MP.
Well, I think ultimately you have to follow what you believe in and have your own integrity in what you do. So there may be some level of discussion that would need to be had, but I think the whole idea of, you know, being able to get into any political party right now, are they going to actually being offered people that are dynamic, that have got the passion and the will to do it, actually seats that are potentially winnable, or are they just going to put candidates through for very marginal seats that you haven't got a choice in getting in? So I think it's looking at the wider picture here. You know, are politicians actually going to sweep the slate clean, let the politicians that have been seen to be corrupt and actually turned a number of voters off, and people are talking all over England at the moment saying actually we're really not happy with what our politicians have done.
Have you been approached by other parties? I mean, you've been interested in politics for some time, you sat on the MPA as you were saying. I mean, how do the different parties compare in their approaches to you? Because I think all three have spoken to you.
They have all spoken to me, and I think it's all been very similar and it's all been very positive. But because of the type of work I do, I'm very busy, so I need to know that there would be, you know, some real hope of actually getting through and winning. Obviously you need to go through due process, I wouldn't argue against that, but you need to be seen that you are going to be given a fair opportunity. There's lots of people like myself out there that are very, very good at what they do, that we want to be public servants when we don't want to be seen to be lining our own pockets. I think there needs to be a fresh change.
And do you get a sense that things really are changing now? I mean, you speak to a lot of members of the general public. Perhaps before it would have seemed almost impossible to break through to get selected for a traditional party. But do you think there's a sort of public will there now that people want independents to stand because, you know, people want a clean break? I
think political parties need to realise now that ordinary people in the street actually want ordinary people representing them, not people that are going to line their own pockets. I think people are now looking for a change, and unless they're prepared to have a different, more diverse group of people in, parties are not going to be voted for.
So what is the next stage for you? I mean, is this something that you'll discuss with your friends, maybe your parents or whatever, and your local community? Just tell us what your next stage is.
Well, I think the next stage for me is, I mean, I've had a number of people approach me, and to see how serious those approaches are now, and to see what is available and what I can offer as well. And people like me, we have got an awful lot to offer. I mean, I have been working with Operation Black Vote, and I have been mentoring people and bringing people through. So that's really important that we all start to make a difference and see what they can offer, really.
What about this idea that, you know, for radical change, it's going to take quite a period of time in the House of Commons now? I mean, what would you like to see changed as a result of this scandal?
I think we need to see openness and transparency, and I think we want our public servants and our politicians to do a job because they want to do it, not because they want to try and claim lots of expenses. And I don't think that means that politics should only be open to people that can afford to be there. It should be open to all of us.
But do you accept that party discipline has to be maintained? You know, if you are elected, coming back to the point we raised a little earlier, that, you know, you can't just be a bunch of independents in the Palace of Westminster, otherwise no legislation will never get passed.
No, I think generally there's a consensus out there, but there may be things that one disagrees on, and you have to be true to the people you're representing and the communities you come from.
OK, all right. Well, Aneeta Prem, thank you very much for coming in and talking to us this evening.
Thank you very much.